Ferguson's law. Ferguson's law is very important. Not because I dreamt it up, because it's named after Adam Ferguson, the great Enlightenment Scottish thinker, whose essay on civil society, 1767, was the first major contribution to recognize the importance and the dangers of public debt. I tried to formulate Ferguson's insight in an easy-to-remember formula. If you are spending more on interest payments than on defense, as a great power, you will not be great for much longer. That is the essence of Ferguson's law. And the cool thing about it is that it applies to every empire since the 1600s. The Spanish Empire, the Dutch Republic's empire in the 17th century, the French Empire in the 18th century, the Ottoman Empire in the 19th century, the Austro-Hungarian Empire also in the 19th century, the British Empire in the 20th century, and the United States will be no exception. And guess when the United States started to spend more on interest payments than on the defense budget? That's right. Last year. The first time since 1934 that the US spent more on interest payments than on defense. And that is only going to get worse, absent some kind of miracle. Because if you look at the Congressional Budget Office data, which projects the likely trajectory of interest payments and discretionary spending by the federal government, you can see that over time, the net interest outlays number relative to GDP grows, and the defense spending number relative to GDP stagnates and even declines. So that by 2049, on present trends, the US will spend twice as much on interest payments on the federal debt as on defense, in violation of Ferguson's law. Now, what is interesting is that most of the major advanced economies are in the same mess. The sole exception is Germany. And Germany is the exception because the Germans decided to introduce a constitutional amendment that would limit the size of their public sector deficit. But all the other countries spend way more on interest payments, way more in the case of Italy, more also in the case of the United Kingdom than they spend on defense. So it's not just the United States, it's the major US allies that are in violation of Ferguson's law, except Germany.